Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the CCW podcast. I'm Kaiser, and I'm here with Vivian.
I'm Vivian, the Executive Director for Citizens Crime Watch.
And today we're going to be talking about general vacation safety. Right now in Miami, it's a really, really hectic time because we are smack dab in the middle of spring break. So there's a lot of people in the area, even though there probably shouldn't be because of COVID. But there's a lot of people here, and we're really just here to talk about all the general vacation tips that people should be aware of. You know, like what kind of precautions people should be taking and things like that.
Absolutely. Well, like you mentioned, spring break is here, and our wonderful Sunshine State, it's open.
Yes.
Which is kind of primarily why we have the crowds that we have. Keep in mind, we're still in the middle of the pandemic.
Yes.
So we still need to keep those safety measures in place, right?
Of course.
Our wearing the mask and our social distancing and try to remember those things first and foremost.
Of course. COVID is still a thing. It doesn't just go away. So all those precautions still need to be taken.
Exactly. I had some important points to go ahead and talk about, and then we could go ahead and if I forget anything, you go ahead and you tell me. But we're not only going to discuss spring break, but we were going to discuss vacation safety tips in general.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So why don't we start with car safety?
Okay. Car is a great place to start because it's I guess depending on how you're traveling or how you're gonna, it's the main way that people are gonna be moving around, right?
Especially, so not everybody's gonna be flying because again of COVID, and a lot of us have that fear of being in a plane right now.
Yeah.
So we are seeing that a lot of people are driving, right,
Yes.
and the road trips. So we have to check our tires, right, that they're in good condition, the tire pressure. We have to make sure we have all the documents we need.
Yes.
Registration,
just general
car
maintenance,
insurance, oil change, and do all that before we leave, right? The last thing you want to do is be out in the road, be driving at nighttime, hopefully not alone, but being stuck trying to get a tow truck to you because that would ruin your whole vacation.
Yeah,
So
I've had to change a tire before coming back from another city, so it's not fun. It's
no,
really
it's
bad.
not. So let's kind of make sure that we have a little checklist before we leave with things to do for our car. I think that's very important. But yes, if you're traveling in an airplane, obviously our documents, right? Like our passport, our licenses. I know currently we kind of close, right? Like our airports with other countries coming in and going out. But luckily from state to state, you could travel. You
pretty
might
freely.
not need the passport during these times, but you should still have all your documents in place.
And when you specifically when traveling to another country, some countries they actually have they do what's, I think they have grace periods, so they only allow people in every 2 weeks or something like that. There's certain periods of time where they only let certain amounts of people come in, and when it comes to the passport, there's things, and I have a list here of things that we are going to be talking about, but there's things like the STEP program, which is a Smart Traveler enrollment program.
Yes, and not many people know about that.
A lot of people know about that, yeah.
Yes, and it's super, super, super important. I actually learned about that one when I was traveling to Europe, and it's very important. And not just that, you also need to know where your embassies are at, wherever you're going to go. Have a copy of your passport and your documents in case you lose it. You're going to be required to have some sort of proof when you go to the embassy and things like that.
Carry currency from the country, obviously. You don't want to be walking around with US dollars.
No. That will make you a target, right?
Yes,
that's a big I'm a tourist and I don't know.
Exactly. Yes. And your credit card and your banks, let them know where you're going.
Absolutely. So to avoid your credit card being flagged for any frauds, what you have to do is you have to call your credit cards and your bank, and you have to give them ahead of time where you're going to be and for how long.
Yes.
So that they know that it's you using your credit card because you let them know that you are going to be at X location and that you are gonna be there for a week or two, whatever like it might be. That you do have to do.
Yes.
And I also always recommend carrying very little cash like on you. Again, just you don't want to make yourself like a target.
Yeah.
Like just whatever you think you might spend that night or that day, maybe just carry that specific amount like on your
Yes.
person and not have a lot of cash on you.
And copies of your ID, your information, your passport. Don't take it's not very good to take the actual passport.
No.
Because if you're going to places like Europe, pickpockets are very, very big there. They're everywhere. So it's better if somebody steals a copy of your passport than your actual passport, because
Absolutely.
you don't want to lose that. That's how you're going to get back into the country. So it's very important. A lot of people don't realize these things because it's especially here, we don't have to deal with it as much. It's a lot I don't want to say a lot more frowned upon to do those kind of things in the Americas. And I would say that there's a lot more regulation when it comes to like petty crimes like that.
Yeah.
More people, at least in the U.S., people aren't necessarily, or at least tourists aren't necessarily targeted the same way. Because of how big the cities thrive on the tourism, especially like here in Miami.
Yes.
During vacation time, there are police everywhere. They double up on patrols. There's a lot more activity, but or a lot more things going on with the police themselves. So it's a lot harder to get away with these kind of things.
But it still happens.
It still happens, though.
And oftenly.
Yes. And with that, we also mentioned looking up, if you're in another country, looking up the consulate and the embassy, knowing where those places are.
Yes, exactly. So if you lose your passport or if you have any kind of emergency, you have to go to your embassy.
Yes.
So one of the main things to do as soon as you get to your destination is know where it's located, have their phone numbers, and again, they're there to help and to assist. And if you have a copy of your passport and you have the right documentation, again, if keep copies of everything, they will be able to help you and to facilitate a way for you to get back.
Yes, exactly. And most consulates and embassies are located in major cities and things like that, so they
Yes.
shouldn't be too hard to find. It's however any ways you can do, any things that you can be aware of or ways to find out, you can kind of figure that out as you're there. And some of the locals too may know.
Yes.
And then also knowing what to do in an emergency. Different countries, not 911 doesn't work in every country. No. Every country has a different number for the emergency line, the emergency hotline, and things like that. So knowing the steps to take for those in case of any emergencies, the precautions you have to take, right?
Yeah, and you have mentioned that a good way to find the emergency contact information might be right there at the airport, right?
That's right.
Upon
Yes.
arrival.
Yes.
So again, one of the things you want to do when you're arriving, it's like know what the emergency number for where you're at, your location is, your embassy again, and just have multiple copies actually, right, of the passport, one on your person and one that you might have like with your belongings like in separate like locations. So God forbid you misplaced something, you have like a backup copy.
Get all the information you think you're gonna need. It helps to have it. There's nothing wrong with keeping the information safe, or having it available rather. Oh, give me one second. Social media. Okay.
Yes. And you're the expert, right?
Yes, I am. So social media, big thing. One of the biggest things that the biggest mistakes that people make is that when you're going to another place, another country, another city, is that they are posting everywhere they're at every which moment, right?
Taking a picture of their foods and posting it at the restaurant with the location, and here I am currently, right?
Yeah. Don't do that. Do not do that. Just don't do it. It is not okay. That is any potential predators or anybody who is around you. It's really easy for people to take advantage of that if they know where you are at all given times. If you have somebody, let's say there's a burglar near your home and they want to get in, they know that you're not there because you're posting about it on social media. Or if there's somebody who is where you are and they know that you're not from the area because again you're posting about it, you're talking about it, they can take advantage of you.
And you just became a target,
And you
right?
became a target.
You became a target and a potential victim of crime by doing so. And now that you mentioned like your home, let's talk a little bit about home safety for when you're away. Several steps to take is you had mentioned that letting your family and your friends know.
Yes, close friends and family, letting them know where you are, how long you're going to be gone.
Exactly. But another thing that we at Citizens Crime Watch encourage during our neighborhood watch meetings is letting your neighbor know when you're going to go out of town for many things. And ideally, it's your next door neighbor or somebody that could have a visual as to like your home, picking up your mail. Yes. Right? So one of the signs that someone is not home is that you have a ton of mail in your mailbox, and they will check for that. Yes. So if you have your neighbor going ahead and collecting the mail for you, that it's a good thing. And also you need to let them know, again, how long you're going to be gone, what cars are going to be parked outside your house. Let them know, hey, if there's a suspicious car or a car that doesn't belong that I haven't mentioned to you, go ahead and call the police. Yes. And one of the most important things, I think, for me, too, is putting a wash order on your home.
Yes, which most people don't know about.
No. So it's free of charge. It's available, I want to say nationwide, because a lot of police departments go ahead and do it. Mm-hmm. So you want to call your police department and you want to let them know that you're going to be away and for how long. Right? For how long you're going to be away. And put a wash order on your home. What that would do, in essence, is increase police presence in your neighborhood and around your area. Yes. So let's say that a police officer is driving in between calls. They will go ahead and drive by your neighborhood and your home because they have your address and keep an eye out for your home. Also, if the alarm goes off, right? They might know, hey, it's not a false alarm, possibly because they're not supposed to be there. They're away. It might not be a mistake. So it's just like little steps that we could take to keep our home safe while we're away.
Of course, you want peace of mind when you're out in another country enjoying yourself or another city. It's always important to know that your things, even when you're not at home, you are a potential victim. Yes. And taking those proper steps is always important. Yes. So next we have, let's see, home safety. Oh, all right. The next one, and this is a big one that applies to most, if not everybody, who's out and about, drinking safety. There's so many different ways we could go on to this, but some of the major key points we touched on is taking care of your drink.
Yes, don't leave your drink unattended. Right.
If you're going, no matter where you're going,
take your drink.
Take your drink. If you're going to the bathroom, right?
Take your drink.
Take your drink. Hold it.
Again, and if at some point you were not paying attention to your drink, disregard it.
That's right.
Drinks are expensive. I know alcohol is very pricey, but better safe than sorry.
Exactly. Your life is more valuable.
Exactly. So disregard your drink and get a new one. And you and I do different things. I know that I tend to put my hand over the rim of my glass, right? So I feel that way I have something covering my drink and nobody will put anything like in my drink. That's right. And for you,
I like to hold it in front of me if I'm speaking to somebody, right? If I have it usually like near my lap or something like that, holding it with both hands, so I know that nobody can reach around and try to mess with it.
And that way it's in front of your person, like visually, right? So you will see if somebody, it's like reaching for your cup and something like that, which I might even like that one more than my own. So thank you for that. This is why these things are great, right? Because we share different ideas and different techniques, and you guys might have something different. And go ahead and let us know what you do differently, right?
Yeah, put it in the comments. Let us know different tips,
because we all need to keep like each other safe. Part of a big safety when it comes to drinking is know your limits.
Yes, 100%. Knowing how far you can go, knowing knowing when to how to pace yourself. You don't want to be that person that's way too drunk at the party. You don't want to be that person getting into fights, getting into arguments. You want to avoid all kinds of negative confrontations. You don't want to get arrested, especially in another country. This is really, really big. Police are different in other places. laws work differently in other countries.
Absolutely.
And even in other cities. You don't want to get caught arrested somewhere that you don't know about. And especially if you don't speak the language. You're stuck in a police station. People are telling you different things and you don't understand.
Yeah.
Just be safe. Don't drink too much, you know?
Yes. I know that my brother, before he joined the Marines, I was in that age that I was gonna be able to start drinking and stuff like that. And one of the things that he mentioned to me right off the bat was that, like, pace yourself, know your limits, drink water.
Yes.
Right? Hydrating yourself and making sure that you're drinking water, because believe it or not, like, if you're still drinking water, you're not drinking alcohol at that time. You're giving your body a little bit of time to, like, recover, to, like, hydrate, but
Yes.
you have to know your limits. And then a body system.
Yes, if you're with friends, and piggybacking off of the drinking, if you're with friends, you always want at least you can yourself can be, or you can assign a friend who isn't going to drink that much that night, right?
Exactly.
Somebody to take care of everyone in case of an emergency, and have the buddy system. Everybody go with somebody. Don't leave anybody by themselves. Leave with the people you came with, right? Everybody goes there together. Everybody leaves together.
You have to live together.
Nobody stays behind for whatever reason.
No, and I know maybe, you might meet someone or whatnot, and your friends might be like, oh, I just want to, like, no, that is not okay. So you have to stick to the plan and be like, we went together. Our plan is to come back together. And again, if it was 4 of you that went out, four of you returned.
That's right.
And you return together.
And in case of an emergency, you can always designate a meetup spot as well.
Correct, yes.
An area, if everybody's separated for too long, let's say 30 minutes pass by, an hour, and you haven't seen your friends, maybe you should go to that spot to see, hey, are they there? I should be there, so everybody has a central place to kind of recuperate in case something happens, in case you get separated.
Absolutely. Sometimes if we lose someone, or if you're in a crowd, like, we tend to start, like, going around in circles looking for one another, and then we never go ahead and run into each other, right? Because we're trying to look for one another. So
That's
that
right.
spot becomes very, very, very important.
100%.
Know your emergency contact information,
Yes.
right? Like, I want to have your emergency contact information. You should have mine in case something happens.
Yes.
Guys, it could be food poisoning.
Yeah.
Whatever, you drink water that is somewhere else that maybe wasn't safe, and hey, I want you to call my mom and let her know, hey, I'm at the hospital.
Yeah.
Right? Getting help and what happened. So share your emergency contact information with all your friends that are traveling together, with
100%.
like that buddy system that you're gonna have in place.
And one that's really big, specifically, this one pertains more to women, but it can apply to anyone, is a code word. If you're out with friends and you're uncomfortable or something doesn't seem right, you can have a code word that you share with your friends to let them know, hey, like, I need help, or hey, this isn't right, like, and that way the other person knows, okay, well, I need to step in and help my friend out.
I have used that. My friends have used that. Sometimes, like you say, I'm going to go back to referring to a female as a female. Sometimes you're getting hit on and you're not really that interested, and you just want to have like a polite way to get yourself away from that situation. Those things come like handy, like having that that code word, right? Because then your friend could come over and be like, hey, come join us, or like, and that way you could excuse yourself and not necessarily be rude. But it's okay to be rude.
Yeah,
I'm going to say it right now. It's okay to be rude if it's going to come to your safety.
100%.
And listen to your spidey senses.
Yeah.
If your gut feeling is telling you something about like a person, a place, or a situation, please listen to that.
Yes.
Most likely than not, it's going to be right. And it's okay to be rude. At the end of the day, I'm sorry, but it is.
No, it's true, because usually, especially if you're out in another city, like, you don't know this person, you're probably never going to see them again.
Nope.
So it doesn't matter.
And my safety, right? My priority.
Yes.
So, like, it's okay to say no.
Yes.
And it's okay to come across a little rude if you have to, because sometimes also, guys, when we're drinking, we become a little bit like persistent, and maybe we don't even like know it. Mm-hmm. So you're sometimes in an uncomfortable situation and the person is insisting in like buying you a drink or whatever the case might be. It's okay to say no.
Yes.
and it's okay to walk away.
Yeah, and never accept drinks from strangers.
Absolutely not.
Never.
Absolutely not.
That's right.
That's like a whole
nother conversation.
Another conversation that we could go ahead and go into that. But lastly, awareness.
Awareness, yes.
So the main word in crime prevention is awareness. As we mentioned early on in this recording, we needed to be aware of our hotels, our Airbnbs, our restaurants, our bars, know where our exit points are. Keep an eye out, like for the door or the entryways. Just be aware of anything that might be happening. I know we're on vacation and we just want to have a good time, but you're not going to have a good time if you're not safe and you're becoming a victim of crime,
100%.
Right? That will ruin your vacation.
Exactly.
So it's better to be aware and implement this little like safety tips. And if we make it a routine, then it doesn't become work.
Yeah,
like it's almost like it's almost like instant, right? Like once you repeat something so many times, then it just becomes second nature.
Yes, it's just becomes a part of you. And with that going along with awareness is being aware of where to go when you need help, right?
Yes.
Do not trust a stranger with any emergency things. If you don't know this person and you're having a crisis, don't go to somebody you don't know. If try to find where local law enforcement are, which we mentioned earlier. Or if you're at an establishment like a bar or a restaurant, let the manager know, the owner know, like, hey, listen, I need help. Where should I go? But don't trust random strangers that you don't know, right? You have to be not only physically aware of your surroundings, but also mentally aware.
And by the way, the bartenders might know. Yeah. Right? Because they're there serving drinks like all the time. Right. And if a person seems sketchy, they might even tell you, hey,
this person is off.
This person, like, it's off, because guess what? They're working. They kind of like know who the regulars are, how people are acting. So kind of like rely on some of that information.
100%.
Don't be afraid to go to your law enforcement officer and ask for help. I know right now it's spring break for us here in Miami, and police presence is available everywhere, actually, in all the different areas, and they're there to keep you safe. So don't matter. It doesn't matter if you think it's something silly or small. They're there. Go and get help and ask.
Yeah. And I think with that, we covered everything.
I hope so. there's always so much information that we want to go ahead and provide, right? By just like little things. Again, awareness, protect your drink, and protecting your drink. I mentioned, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna end this with a very dark note. I woke up this morning and I was on our local news station, and I saw a case that had just happened here in Miami Beach of a 24-year-old female that was drugged, raped, and was later found in the room.
So sad. Yeah.
And I'm sorry to leave you with this note, but it's reality.
It can happen to anyone.
It can happen, and it can happen to anyone. So this is why we do this podcast, right? For crime prevention and for safety, and to just help you guys be informed.
100%. Yeah. And linked below and on our social media. On our social media, we'll actually be posting more tips pertaining specifically to spring break, but it's stuff that applies to vacation in general that will all be linked below. All the important information, things like STEP and the apps that you should be aware of. All those things will be down below. And let us know contact us. All our contact information is down below. Our website.
And let us know what you do.
Yeah.
Because we have limited time. We might not cover anything, but like let's be that community that shares more information to help one another.
Yeah, we read the comments. We see what people say. So please. And with that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Like, comment, subscribe, and that's it. That's the end of the CCW podcast.